Hello and welcome to Fortis Studios. I'm Rea Fortis and I'm going to be taking you through how I made Dynamoment. So I always start with the drum pattern, so whenever you go to any one of my sessions you will normally find that the order of creation is reflected in all of the audio. So at the top there's the main drum pattern. Did a little switch up here for the verse so you can hear the claps coming through. And then this particular section is for the whole chorus. That's pretty much the breakdown of the whole drum pattern. So there was an intro there was a verse, and there was a chorus, and there are slight variations between each of them as well. One of the later choruses has got even more going on. I wanted to add more percussive layers to the sound, so I cowbelled this up. You can literally see by the waveforms, I'm not doing anything crazy, it's just a nice little muted. A cowbell tends to end up in a lot of my music one way or another. Not to say that cowbells are synonymous with Latin music, but they kind of are. Now, I love the shaker because it is mini cajon. A very teeny tiny dinky little cajon. That's a shaker. I know, so you can't really play it like a cajon, but you can shake it. It works really well going from side to side, depending what time signature you're in. So as you can hear on there as well, there's a lot of processing. As it goes on through the verse, I've decided let's just add a bit of delay so it just pops in the panning in the left and right a lot more. Yes, there is an auto filter on there, so Ableton's finest, the auto filter, love it. It's great when you just want to add some sweeps, when you want to add a bit of drama, a bit of tension, signify that there's going to be a change. I've actually got 2 tracks of those, and the second one sounds like this. A lot more delay. So delay is building up on that quite nicely. Again, just to add the drama. So when I add all 3 of them together for the second verse, you can hear the auto filter just sweeping across. A bit more delay, a bit more build up. And I just added that nice little kick at the end to again signify that we're now transitioning into the chorus. So that's something I like to do a lot with my music. So what happens next after the drum pattern? I was absolutely adamant to write a song that featured my baritone sax. Baritone is still somewhat new to me. I'm not very good at playing it, if I'm really honest. I can get a good sound in the lower register. As soon as I hit that octave key, it sounds like a duck. So I do need to practice on it, but I bought it exactly for that lower register that my tenor obviously can't get to. So I thought, well, how can I make something that's really fun, but really simple as well? Like, if I needed to play this live, can I do that? And in the end, I came up with what you now hear as this. I'll be honest, it sounds better in real life, but for the purposes of the recording, it sounds exactly how it needs to. Now, I really like the throaty, really rich sound that the baritone, but especially my particular one, has. It's an old boy. He's seen some things. Why not add in a harmony? So naturally I go for the third above in the progression, The two comes together and you can hear the beginnings of the song already. That pattern came from me working with the drums, but obviously, as you know, that's not the end of the song. In fact, this is literally just the beginning. Obviously, I couldn't just play the baritone sax without the tenor, although the main goal was to have the baritone included. So I wanted to come up with a counter melody where they both work really well together, but also have their own chance to shine. The whole idea is for the horn section to play together, and they're often either in unison or in harmony. But here I really wanted to have that sort of that back and forth, that conversation between the two saxes. So with that in mind, I decided to go up the octave on the tenor so you could really tell the difference between the two. Naturally, I added a harmony to it because one sax is never enough, is it? How does it sound with the bari? Well, it sounds a little something like this. And something that you might not notice on this recording, because I think I'm just recording with the camera mic. I actually don't know how good that sounds. I'm going to find out in post and let you know. Or you'll find out at least, because you'll be watching this. The tenor part actually bounces. It really pans between the two speakers. So, da-da, 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 da-da. And then for the last phrase, it actually comes back and pans into the middle. You can see there that we've got some syncopation going on, how the two really work together. A lot of movement already. Sax has got a really nice harmonic content to it as well. You can make it sound as really thick and as fuzzy as you want it to, but you can also take some of that away so you've got a bit of cleaner sound. I wanted something that was very saturated, very warm and throaty, and I think definitely captured that with both of those. It was from here I started to think about genre a little bit, and I was like, okay, we're kind of treading with the timbales and the samba drums. I was like, okay, we're treading into Latin territory, which is not new for me. I love samba bands, they're amazing. I used to be in one as a child. They always gave me the big one because I was very tall, so I was just like boom, 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 boom. Everybody else got to go on the smaller ones and all the nice clicky percussion stuff. I just got the bass drum, but now the tables are turned because I'm an adult and I get to do what I want. I get to do what I want. Woo! I thought I need some kind of accompaniment instrument. I mean, I didn't need it, I just wanted it. Because sometimes people like hearing the triadic tones from a chord or how many notes you put in the chord. These were just triadic chords. I like using piano. I like old-timey pianos as well, but I didn't think this was the kind of song that would work for it. So what's the next best instrument apart from piano for this purpose? Any takers? You? No, you? The one with the six-stringed? Guitar, that's it, guitar. Guitar, I went for guitar. Now, I don't play guitar. I really tried, and it's not for me. I just do not have the coordination for it. This is where the fabulous Reuben comes in, and I show him the chords on the piano. And I go, well, these are the chords. I normally ask him to do two things for me. So I ask him to be the rhythm guitarist. So I was like, I just want to hear what the chords sound like when you're riffing.
Yeah, I can't remember. Did you already have that transition from the first down to the seventh?
No.
Because obviously the seventh chord doesn't really fit in many chord sequences unless it's like just a transitional thing. So it's that. And then you had already written that.
Yeah.
It was very deliberate to go. Because you could have also played those two chords there. So you would have had...
I think those ascending chords as well kind of lend itself to the funk.
Yeah.
I think if you kept that bass note in and went down, like, it wouldn't have sounded wrong, but it definitely wouldn't have sounded as funky.
Yeah, a lot of funk as well is played on the higher register, and the chords are played like that or like that, rather than like a full bar chord. I loved that. It was giving me Prince. It was so nice and crispy. We didn't even run that through an amp. I plugged it straight into the interface. I was like, I want the cleanest, crispiest sound that you can get from this. Did some light processing on it. Oh gosh, literally nothing. I used a compressor, EQ, and chucked on a lot of high end on another EQ. Again, Ableton's finest. I like to keep things simple. I like to keep things simple. Literally just used 3 plugins on that guitar that we plugged straight into the interface, jack to jack. And here comes the next bit, which is not even possibly, this is the whole reason Dynamoment came together, is this particular riff. I kept all the takes. We have different improvisation styles. I often like to ask people to improvise on my music. I say, okay, and now you noodle. Now you do your thing. I like seeing what people come up with, and often, especially in my cases, that's where the magic happens. That's where the song actually comes together. That's where things actually come to life. So when we came up with the guitar part, initially I asked you to do the chords and then improvise. How did you come up with the improvise section? Yeah, I don't think I played the guitar chords. I don't think I played the chords yet on guitar. I mean, how do you improvise something? It
just happens, doesn't it?
It just happens, yeah. Probably just noodling around, just on an F minor scale. And it was probably a while before I actually came up with the riff that we ended up using, the little... Obviously you didn't have any lyrics, you didn't have a vocal line, or not that I'd heard any of at that point, so there wasn't really anything to go off except just improvising in F minor. Sort of it's not really an F minor like a full F minor would be. It's more like an F minor pentatonic. But it's also great for melodic lines because it keeps those gaps between the notes, so it's not super scalic, it's not just... You know, I was just improvising. There were lots of other stuff that I did that didn't make it onto the track. You know, there's bits of me playing and then doing the opposite way down. Back down to that one. If I just chuck that with some drums. All the treasures you can find when you jump into my mind. All these nights I've dreamt of this Dynamoment. That riff right at the end, that is exactly what made Dynamoment. That do 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 I wouldn't have achieved that on my own, and this is why I like making people improvise. This song may have been just as good, but wouldn't be this, and I think this is amazing. So that drums, percussion, guitars, melody line, saxes, bass. I'm not very good at writing bass lines, especially this is pretty much all organic, all recorded. The only thing that's MIDI in this is the drum pattern, in case you couldn't tell. So I had to get Reuben again. So I left this one in his perfectly capable hands. Now, I totally could have MIDI'd a bass line. It wouldn't have sounded good, but I would have blended it into the background. The amazing thing I like about this bass is that it really pops. Reuben does some amazing octave jumps on it. I love the sound of it. It's just, oh, and it sounds a little like this. Just listening back to that now, I did think it was a little bit cleaner, but on reflection, it's a little bit muddier than what I probably would have liked. So probably could have done some kind of gating or clean up on that to make it sound a bit sharper. Obviously I'm monoing my bass, not everyone does, but I like to mono my bass. So it sits nice and central, so it almost works as the harmonic glue that everything else can sit on top of, and it provides that nice little groove. I will just have drums, bass and guitar. Gosh, I really liked how that sounded. I'm just going to play that again. I really enjoyed that. That's going towards the right. And the rhythm is sitting on the left. A little bit of reverb, touch of delay, just to make it a bit more floaty, not as harsh on the ears. So you've got those two guitars going on the side. There's a lot of panning data in the drums, a lot of percussion going across in the top and popping on the sides. And then we've got the bass slap bang in the middle. It does glue it together and it works really, really well, in my opinion, in my very humble producer opinion. There are a few more important aspects I have not touched on yet. Number one being the trombone.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always hard recording improvisation, because it's one thing on the guitar, like if you figure something out and you come up with a riff, and then you just perfect that riff, you just learn it. With a brass instrument, like, it's quite difficult. It's all just on an F minor blues. And obviously with the trombone, like, you've got a slide, so you want to make use of that.
Yes.
We do a lot as well. Makes it noticeably a trombone. Obviously it's got a lower pitch than a trumpet or something else as well, but it's something that a trumpet or a sax can't necessarily do, not in exactly the same way. By the time we were doing the trombone, the rest of the song was already pretty much finished. When we did the guitar part, the song didn't exist yet. So like I said, that melody that we had on the guitar, you end up using it with the vocals. Then by the time you've done that, I'm going to be listening to the guitar and the vocals and everything else that you've done afterwards with both saxes and all the parts, in order to, that's all going to influence how I end up improvising. So you'll hear a lot of callbacks to some of those same melodies and riffs. At the end of the day, with improvising, you can't cut a load of takes together generally, which obviously anyone who's done any recording will know about. But when it comes to doing a solo, particularly on a brass instrument, it's much harder. You can't really comp it together. You have to just, if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you do another. You know, we've experienced recording other people as well. The solos are getting worse each take because someone's trying to give direction or pointers. It's not a jazz standard, it's not a jazz song at all. You know, the purpose of the solo is not for me to show off, because it's part of a pop funk song. To fit in the genre, it does need to be melodic, it does need to be catching people's ear and something that you can almost sing the melody in your head.
Yes. That's kind of what I like with improvising. It's like, tell us that you're going to take us there, but don't give it to us straight away. That's what I like to get from the improvising part. The lyrics, I wanted to write a song that was just fun. I have a list of things on my phone where I've either heard snippets from conversations or I've been very intoxicated, and I thought, I'm going to write that down. Champagne lifestyle, beer money, a successful disappointment. That one never made it into the song. I really wanted it to, but I just couldn't find a way for it to go in, so I left it. Using your Arriva bus pass to wipe your ass. Couldn't get that one in there, and I kind of wanted to keep this song somewhat PG so radios would play it. No radios have played it yet, so shame on me. You are first until second comes ahead. I killed someone and I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know what mental headspace I was in that day. It's not funny when you hit your funny bone. When the knife sharpener needs sharpening. So yeah, that's not all of them. That's not the whole list. I'm just gonna take some stuff from here and make it work. And that's what happened. I've always written very serious songs growing up. And now I'm just like, I want to write songs about nonsense. And I think it's a really great full circle moment, if I'm really, really honest. When I initially recorded this, I didn't like my vocal delivery. I was very aggressive when I sang it. I was like, I'll be closing the chop shop early. Wanna get lower than James Brown's knees. I thought, let's go not quite sultry, that also wasn't warranted, but just effortless, cool. I've been closing the chop shop early. Wanna get lower than James Brown's knees. And it worked so much better than me trying to belt it. So I just had to adjust the lighting because it gets so dark so quickly in the UK now that it's winter. The one thing that I really love that I've been able to do with my voice on this particular song is lift the chorus with a 3-part harmony, just following the chords. Literally, that's it, just that lift. All the treasures you can find when you jump into my mind. All these nights I've dreamt of this Dynamoment. And even in the instrumental section of it, okay, the vocals are still there. It's Dynamoment. The chorus really lifts it for me. I love the verses because it's just pure nonsense. This is such an organic song. I'm not very good, I'll be honest, with mixing live sound. It's something I still need a lot more practice with. This for me has been a nice challenge to work with instruments that I'm like, okay, well how would I get this to actually sound good? I think I've done it. I think I've hit the nail on the head. As for the music video, again, it's improvised. My whole life is improvised. Half the time I do not have a plan when it comes to a lot of my creations. Towards the end where Reuben has his trombone solo and I'm with the Barry, you know, that was completely improvised. Like, he was going for it and I was like, well, what do I do? Like, I can't really just stand here and bop for like 32 bars. It was predetermined that the trombone solo was always going to prevail, but in the visual, you don't see that, which is funny. I also wanted a little bit of shock value with the music video as well. As you can see, this is my hair at the time of filming, which is about 6 months ago now. I'd had my hair braided. And it was time for the braids to come out, and I thought, how do I ceremoniously document the fact I've had braids and the fact that I'm taking them out? Obviously film it. Got a very nice shock when they saw that one. That's it. Thank you for joining me on Dynamoment. It's been interesting breaking down my own song. I wish a lot more producers would break their stuff down. Not so much for the industry secrets. I think everyone's got their own way of doing things. Isn't someone curious about it? Like, doesn't someone want to know how you got to that? You may have learned something today, you may not have. Who knows?